Mayor, the financial livelihood of our downtown businesses is in jeopardy. So, he's talking about downtown businesses that were not doing well. There are few available parking spaces close to the downtown shopping area. There are few, right? What does that mean? There are few available parking spaces at almost none, right? There aren't many parking spaces. So if we are to spur economic growth in our city, if we are to so is going to probably give you a conclusion now. If we are to spur economic growth in our city, we must build a large parking ramp no more than 2 blocks from downtown. So again, this is a proposal. So it acts as a conclusion, and this is a necessary condition. Look, it tells us that this is necessary. We must build a large parking ramp, he's saying, right? So the proposal is that if we are to spur economic growth, we must build a large parking ramp. So what he's saying is that the parking ramp is necessary to spur economic growth. This is what he's saying, right? And that is what we have to weaken. So if we can say that it is not necessary to build a large parking ramp, that should be good enough for us. So which of the following, if true, most seriously weakens the reason? Option A. The city budget is not currently large enough to finance the construction of a new parking ramp. This is irrelevant and out of scope for our argument. And why is that? Because he's saying what is required to spur economic growth. Whether we have the whether we have the money available with us to do that or not is out of scope of this argument. But it doesn't matter. We are only discussing whether it is necessary to build a large parking ramp. Whether we have the finances to build that, we'll talk about that in a later argument, in a later discussion. Right? So then this is not correct. B. There are other more significant reasons for the financial woes of downtown business in addition to a lack of nearby parking spaces. Here we come to that necessary versus sufficient. Right? What he's saying in option B is saying that there are other reasons also why economic growth is not happening. In addition to the parking issue, there are other reasons also. Then my conclusion only says that making a ramp is necessary to spur economic growth. It doesn't say that making a ramp will spur economic growth, right? That a parking ramp is sufficient to spur economic growth. So it doesn't matter if there are other reasons also. My conclusion is only saying that this is necessary. Other things, we'll talk about later. Where now my question is whether it is necessary or not. If I am the opponent and in case I have to weaken, I have to talk about whether parking ramp is necessary or not. Other issues that the downtown businesses are facing doesn't matter. Right? So not our answer. See, building a parking ramp as much as 4 blocks from downtown would be sufficient to greatly increase the number of shoppers to downtown businesses. Now, this is something that people usually don't like, but then when we are to weaken a conclusion, we can weaken any aspect of that conclusion, right? So even if we weaken any one aspect, that is sufficient. What does he say? He says what is necessary, build a large parking ramp no more than 2 blocks from downtown. Now, I can weaken it by saying that, it's not necessary to build it more than less than 2 blocks away. I could even build it 4 blocks away. Even that would be sufficient. If I do that, I have weakened one aspect of the proposal, and that is enough for me to weaken the argument. So this does weaken the argument. Yeah. Option D. Explosive growth is most often associated with large suburban shopping malls, not small businesses. Now, this is out of scope for us. It talks about explosive growth, and we are not discussing that at all. The option is saying that explosive growth happens only with suburban shopping malls. There you can see it. In small businesses, you wouldn't really see. We're not really talking about explosive, right? We're just saying to spur economic growth in our city, to basically to increase it and bring it to some level at least. So then this is out of scope for us, not relevant. E. Some additional parking spaces could be added to the downtown area without the construction of a parking ramp. This says some additional parking spaces, right? Are those additional parking spaces enough so that the large parking ramps you don't necessarily need that? We don't know. The argument doesn't say. Look at that. Option C says building a ramp as just 4 blocks from downtown would be sufficient to greatly increase the number of shoppers. So he's saying that doing this is sufficient to increase the number of shoppers. He is not saying anything like that here. Are these some additional parking spaces sufficient to increase the business? We don't know. Okay? Is it still going to be necessary to make a large parking ramp? We don't know. So then this option does not say that if we are able to make some additional parking space, then a large parking ramp will not be necessary. It is not implying that at all, right? So then this again is not the weakener of our plan, nor of our proposal. So then our answer is C. This is the one that actually does weaken the proposal. Yeah. Right. So it is an alternate plan. You know, look, my conclusion says that A is necessary for B. In case I was given that, you could do C and then still B would happen, then it does weaken my conclusion. Do you understand? If you say that if, here, look at the difference over here in this question. What is my conclusion? It says because of the we must build, right? If the plan was just that if we build a large parking ramp, then we'll be able to improve the financial situation, then I get it. Then it is an alternate plan which has no bearing on our current plan, certainly. But look at what it says. My conclusion says A is necessary for B. Right? Now, in case I say that C can also lead to B without A, then the need for A goes away basically. Can also lead to B and A is not required. Then I am weakening my conclusion. Do you see the difference? Right? Because my plan is not that A can lead to B. My plan is A is necessary for B. So that is the reason why, here, I mean, I can't say that this is just an alternate plan, so let me not worry about it. But in case it had said, for example, something like some additional parking space can be added and that will be sufficient to increase the business by, by a large amount, then that could be the answer, right? Even though it is an alternate plan, still it could be the answer. My issue over here is that they are not telling me what the effect of this additional parking space is. Does it mean that I will not need the large parking ramp in case I put these additional parking spaces? It doesn't say. Okay? So that is why it's not enough. Great, great.